So, I know you've been itching out to know kung ano nga ba yung mga nangyayari sa isang IT capstone defense. Kasi, syempre, alam nyo na yung balita na nakakatakot yung nangyayari doon. And, paano nga ba makalabas doon ng buhay? Char. So, I know naghanap-hanap na rin kayo ng mga sample videos out there. Pwedeng dito sa YouTube or sa Google or somewhere. And I might say na konti lang yung mga results. And me helping you, of course, gumawa ko ng video to give you information kung ano nga ba yung nangyayari doon. Siyempre, naranasan ko na rin yun from college. And then, nakakailang defense din kami nung naging teacher ako. Mga for a week, like, let's say, mga 20 na capstone defense. Yung iba, thesis defense. So, yun. Alam na alam ko yung nangyayari. So, and in this video, bala kong ikwento sa inyo yung mga nangyayari doon in second person point of view. Which means, kikwento ko na kayo yung parang bida. Parang ganun. So, let's assume na ito yung pinaka-final defense niyo. And let's assume na kayo, yung grupo ninyo is medyo average lang. Hindi pabaya, hindi rin medyo sobrang galing, average lang. So, yun yung setup muna ng scene. Okay, ngayon yung day, start tayo siguro umaga. Ang mangyayari niyan is magkikita kayo papasok kayo syempre sa school and mamimit nyo yung subject advisor ninyo kung sino yung mga grupo na naka-assign for today. Let's say for example 5 or 6 na grupo. So muna kayo, set aside muna kayo sa isang room, doon muna kayo magkukumpulan habang pine-prepare yung pinaka room na pagpa-final defense ninyo. Nung college kami sa isang computer laboratory, pero nung naging teacher ako sa isang actual classroom na syempre walang klase doon. Walang other audience. Ang makakaharap nyo lang dito is syempre yung panelists, which is either 3, 4, or 5. Ganun lang yun. Tapos kasama nyo syempre yung subject advisor ninyo and yung inyong technical advisor. So parang that makes, let's say, at least or at most 7 na kaharap ninyo. And then syempre, kayo, either 4 kayo, 5. But on some schools, 2, 1. So it depends. But the point is, konti lang kayo sa isang room. And then yung defense na yun, it depends kung hanggang kailan siya tatagal. The average time na tumatagal yung isang defense is 1 hour. And yung kung gaano kabilis or gaano katagal umabot yung isang defense, it depends kung ano yung performance niyo. Kung may times na pag masyadong mabilis, 2 lang yun, either pumasa ka na wala nang other questions yung panelists, or kita na nila na walang kwenta yung inyong software project or walang kwenta yung inyong capstone, so papalabasin kayo kagad. So maraming meaning kung mabilis, matagal yung inyong defense. So let's assume na lang na it takes around from 30 minutes at least up to 2 hours. 2 hours na yung pinakamatagal, I think, in my experience. So what happens here is, syempre, in your group, natin, let's say na 4 kayo. Ikaw na nanonood nito is yung leader ng group. So in an average na thesis group, capstone group, in an average capstone group, tawag dito, syempre naghihintay kayo niyan. May 3 bagay kayong pinaprepare, nagpapanik kayo, pinaprepare ninyo yung inyong documents. Syempre, each panel may copy dapat ng inyong documents. So on other groups, yung mga pabaya, ngayon pa lang sila nagpapaprint, kayo is nag-a-assemble ng mga pina-photocopy ninyong documents, say 3 peraso or 4 na peraso. Then iinano nyo sa sliding folder. Yung isang member ninyo nagpa-final checking dun sa inyong software, and ikaw siguro na leader nagpe-prepare ng inyong introduction for syempre introduction para sa harap ng panelists. Now, okay, let's say for example na 9 o'clock na. Tapos yung yung naunang grupo. So, tinawag na kayo ng subject advisor nyo. So, the moment na tinawag na kayo, pupunta kayo doon, then you greet them with a smile. Then, hindi pa yun actual na ang mangyayari dito is, papasok kayo doon, yung isang member ninyo is magbibigay ng copy ng inyong document sa mga panel. Yung isang member is nagsiset up na ng projector, nagsiset up ng system, and then some other members na walang masyadong ginagawa, nakatayo sa harap ng panelists. So yung panelists nakaupo sa isang mahabang long table, parang sa competition ng singing competition, may mga judge dyan. So, parang ganun yung scenario. And you, the proponents, is nakatayo sa harap, sa gitna, or pwedeng sa harap may malapit sa blackboard, whiteboard, ganun. And if lahat ay naka-prepare na, yung projector, yung system niyo naka-open na, yung presentation niyo is open na, may kanya-kanyang copy na yung panelist ng documents, nabigay nyo na rin yung parang pagkain nila, ganun. So it's time to start the defense. Malalaman nyo yung start ng defense kapag unang nagsalita na yung subject advisor. Ang mangyayari kasi, papakilala muna kayo ng subject advisor ninyo. So this is the group blah blah blah, group A or group B, so they are ganyan-ganyan. Papakilala, ay ira-run through niya ulit lahat kung ano yung plano sa oras na ito. So it will be divided into 3 parts. First part is yung presentation mismo. Then second part is yung pagpapakita ng inyong software project. And last part is yung question and answer portion. Yan. So after na mag-introduce nung subject advisor niyo sa panel, sa inyo sa grupo ninyo, it's now your turn to introduce yourselves. Syempre, ikaw muna as a leader. So, hello everyone. Good morning, sir, ma'am. We are the group ganyan-ganyan. My name is gagalan. This is blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And our project is, nyo yung screen ninyo. Babanggitin mo yung title ng inyong capstone. And yun, presentation, mostly speaking part lang muna dito, wala pang pinapakitang software project. And yung sa harap ninyo, syempre yung mga panelists nyo, expect na yung iba is nag-check na ng document, hindi nakatingin sa inyo, pero may some na nakikinig, parang ganun. And after yung matapos yung presentation, takes around siguro 20 minutes or 15, it's time for the software project presentation. Another presentation ulit, pero yung software actual software project na mismo yung papakita ninyo. So you will start of course from login page or wherever na kung ano yung una nakikita ng inyong user. Then i-run through nyo yung papakita nyo sa panel yung mga basic processes muna. And then, expect na there will be some quick questions lang muna. Then, yun, tuloy-tuloy lang. May times na magkaka-error. May times na kakabahan kayo. Paano nagka-error, ganyan. It's actually normal. And on the last part, of course, is yung question and answer. Yung pinaka-deadliest part ng inyong capstone defense. So, si panelist 1, nagtanong para kay member A. Si member A, medyo tanga-tanga. Hindi alam mo yung sasagot. Now, since ikaw na leader, ikaw yung nakakaalam ng halos lahat ng mga bagay sa inyong project. So, nagtaas ka ng kamay kung pwede kang sumagot. Sabi ng panel, hindi pwede. Para sa kanya lang yun. Okay. So, medyo tumagal-tagal hanggang sa wala talagang nabanggit yung member A. And panelist moves on. The other panelist moves on to another person. Targeted question itong mga to. But on some parts ng inyong caption, ay, on some parts on your question and answer part is, merong may times na ano, as a whole, pero parang anyone can answer, ganyan. So Mr. ganyan, bakit error yung project niyo kanina? Yun, and you will explain your part. So, kayo na bahalang magsagot niyan. those tips on how to answer those questions is bibigay ko for another video. But the purpose of this is to give you insight kung ano nangyayari. So question, daming questions, may times na 10 questions, may times na ang dami. So hanggang sa matapos na yung mga panelists, kung makita nila satisfied na sila or kung napagod na sila, saka kayo pa lalabasin for saglit lang, parang wait lang muna outside, mag-uusap lang yung mga panelists sa loob, and you on kayong mga grupo, hindi nyo alam kung ano gagawin. So ano ba, pasado ba, failed ba, ganyan. So nasa labas kayo ng room habang yung mga panelists is nag-uusap-usap. Then after 2 minutes, after nila mag-come up, kayo pababalikin, nakaharap ulit kayo sa kanila, and si subject advisor yung magbibigay ng verdict. But before he gives or she gives yung verdict, so parang magsasalita muna siya kung anong summary nitong event anong summary nitong activity, kung parang ipaparealize sa inyo yung mga nangyari. So bakit ganito, ganyan. Pero no need to answer na kasi tapos yung question and answer part, parang for realizations lang. And then time comes, sobrang tahimik na, bibigyan na niyo yung verdict. Okay, congratulations group blah blah blah, you pass. But on some other alternate timeline, I'm sorry group B, you failed, ganyan. So yan, so either lang, dalawang possible na actually maraming possible options, pero pwedeng pass with major revisions, pass with minor revisions, failed, and basta yun, tatlo ata, pass with major, pass with minor revision, and failed. And when you failed, it only means you have to retake the subject. On some schools, you have to retake the subject. Pero on some, merong mga redefense or merong redefense. You have to ask your subject advisor about that, kung may nagpapa-redefense ba sila or not. But usually, on stricter schools, when you failed, you failed. Yun lang yan. So that's what happens inside. So that's what happens in capstone final defense. Don't worry sa final defense, naman kayo ipapasabak doon ng agad-agad. Meron pang tatawag ng mock defense, which is sa mock defense parang defense din yung setup, pero walang verdict pa. Kung medyo palpak kayo sa performance niyo sa mock defense, wala naman yung hindi naman automatically na failed kayo agad. No, mock defense kayo. And then after the mock defense, itong final defense na. So that's what happens sa final stages ng capstone na course. Dugo, no? But yeah, I think kakayanin yun. So good luck. I hope naging helpful tong video na to for preparations, para alam niyo yung bagay na inyong kahaharapin. That's it. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button, and please know every weekend ang updating ng ating every weekend ang aking pag-upload ng mga ganitong videos. Yung nakikita nyo ako. That's it. See you on the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.